All right, so I'm going to walk you through how to get to the lesson to learn how to make this chess pawn. And then I'll actually go through the steps too, but if you don't want to watch me go through it, the lesson walks you through it also. But if you're struggling, I will kind of walk you through the steps too. So you're going to click on Lessons on the left-hand side. Nope, that's where you'll see all the ones you've completed. You're going to click Learn up at the top and then go to Lessons. And you should hopefully see this chess pawn. If you don't, you can click See All Lessons. And you're more than welcome to go through any of these too if you need a little bit more of a refresher in Tinkercad, but we're only going to do this one for this assignment. So when you click on it, you will see any like description or different parts of the lesson. Some of them might be bigger. This one, we're just going to do this one chess pawn. So I can click that and it'll open it up. So how this works, on the left-hand side, it'll walk you through the different steps that you're going to do. So there is 21 different steps, and then once you're done with the step, you click Next, and it shows you the next thing. So I'm going to click Next. So first one, drag a cylinder to the work plane. So I'm just going to grab it and drag it over and place it inside as close to that other little shadow that's there. If you don't want to follow along for the rest of this, you can end this video, but if you'd rather keep going with me, I'm going to walk you through all 21 steps here. So we're going to scale it to a height of 3 millimeters. So to be able to do that, that is this little button that is measuring the height. And you could just drag it down to 3, or you can type in the box 3. Drag a work plane to the top of the cylinder. So here is that work plane, and I'm going to drag it to the top. Drag a cone shape to the top of the cylinder. So that cone is going to go on top of this new work plane, because that's where we're working. And set that to be a height of 11. And if it's not fully matching up with those shadows, that's okay, but you can also use the arrow keys on your keyboard to kind of get it closer. Drag a sphere. So it says to set the diameter of it to 18 millimeters. So for that, you're going to want to use one of like the bottom square measurements to set both of these 20s to be 18. And then we want the height to be 5. So that's that tall height one. If you're not too sure which one you're clicking, you can always rotate on your cube, or if you're using a mouse, you can rotate with that too to kind of make sure you're on the right things. I'm going to move it over to that little target. That looks pretty good. So now I'm going to bring another cone over. Set it to a height of 28. So I'm clicking that top dot on it to do the height. And diameter of 14. So one of these bottom squares, I can set both of those to be 14 to set the diameter. And that looks like it's in the shadow. And then we're going to move it over to this shadow. And I can rotate around just to make sure. Yeah, because I'm not in there. And it says lift the cone 3 millimeters off of the work plane. So this little black triangle at the top, that's how you can move it. So it's 1, 2, 3. Or I could have just typed in down there 3 millimeters as well. Drag another cone to the target area in orange. Scale it to a diameter of 12, so it's using those bottom corners. And I just hit tab to switch between those two boxes. and then scale it to height of 19. Rotate it 180. So we want to flip it upside down. I can tell by that other shadow. So that is this side one, would flip it upside down. If you like accidentally grab the wrong one and you can't get it back to like snap into the top, you can always control or Command Z depending on if you're on a Mac or Windows. But I want this side one to be 180 to flip it upside down. And I'm going to move it to that target area. Try to, and I'm going to rotate around because I'm not there. Yeah. I think I have to lift it up also. That's 6. And then I'm going to drag a new work plane to the top of that cone. I want to make sure my work plane is flat and not hitting like the side of the cone. So adding new work planes like this makes it really easy to build on top of other shapes, exactly, instead of trying to move and drag it around. So I can do a sphere right on that work plane. I set it to 8 by 8 by 8. So it's about 8 by 8. And then I just say hold the shift and you could scale all of them. So if I undo that, what that means if I hold the shift key and I grab any of these corners, it does all of them at once. But I think because I already messed with it, it got a little weird. I think I missed that shadow. There we go, that looks way more normal. Now, our next one, we're getting to the end here, drag a work plane to the original location. So we want to get back to our original work plane that we started with, that blue one. So to do that, you can just grab work plane, and as long as you drag it not on a shape, it'll just kind of snap to that original. We want to select all the shapes. I'm going to click away from it and drag over everything. And then click the Align button in the menu. So that is this one. I tried to rotate without my mouse. So we want to align the centers of everything. So that center, this one was already all aligned, so it was grayed out. And then we don't want to do any of these height ones because that's going to mess up all of those heights we're going to do. Or that we did. So then I'm going to select it all again and group everything. And you'll know that it all grouped because it's all the same color. So if you want to choose a different color, and next. So there we go. That's it. So you're going to take a little screenshot of your chess piece here to turn in our photo with your iPad. And that's what you're going to turn in on Schoology.